Welcome. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to QPAC Live, a program of the Queensborough Performing Arts Center. We are so happy to have you here with us this afternoon. Each week, we bring you programs that are unique and exciting. And we're going to do things, of course, a little differently than we do at the theater. Today, you can interact with us. You can ask the questions to our guest artist today. You could ask me questions. All you need to do is just type in your questions below as you're watching this broadcast. But first, before we get to the live Q&A, which I hope you will stick around for, I want to introduce you to an exceptional artist, Blaine Krauss. Blaine Krauss recently had his own show at Feinstein's 54 Below, and I was there. The music, the words, they evoked a tremendous response from the audience. And in this first selection that you are going to see, Blaine expresses some of his innermost thoughts. Please note that the beginning of this piece, the introduction, is in the dark. So stick around and listen and enjoy this performance, and we'll be back for a live Q&A. Here we go.
As far as I'm concerned, is to reflect the times. I think that is true of painters, sculptors, poets, musicians. As far as I'm concerned, it's their choice. But I choose to reflect the times and the situations in which I find myself. That to me is my duty. And at this crucial time in our lives, when everything is so desperate, when every day is a matter of survival, I don't think you can help but be involved. Young people, black and white, know this. That's why they're so involved in politics. We will shape and mold this country, or it will not be molded and shaped at all anymore. So I don't think you have a choice. How can you be an artist and not reflect the times?
There's something in the air. There's something in the air. We gotta get it. We gotta get together. We gotta get it on. We gotta get it together right now. 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 We came in chains. We came in. We came in chains. We came in. We came in chains. We came in. We came in chains. We came in chains. We came in misery. Now all our suffering and pains are part of history. We came in chains. We must remember that. For that, and that alone explains exactly where we're at. We came in chains. We came in living root. So vacant bows, slave cotton gangs, we from beneath their boots. We came in chains. That's how our blood was spilled. Together with our sweated stains, this nation we have built. We came in chains. We came in chains. We came in. We came in chains. We came in. We came in chains. We came in. We came in chains. We came in chains. We didn't volunteer. And yet today the fact remains we're still held in fear. We came in chains. Now I say cut us loose. Though that may go against your grain, still there's no excuse. We came in chains. We came in chains. We came in. We came in chains. We came in. We came in chains. Hey! free. His parents give him love and affection to keep him strong and moving in the right direction. Giving just enough for the city. We came to change. His father works some days for 14 hours, and you can bet he barely makes $1. His mother goes to scrub the floor for Minnie. Give us believe she hardly makes a penny. Living just enough for the city. His hair is long, his feet are hot and pretty. His skin is safe, walking the streets in New York City. He always has every reason that to lose her. He tried to go to him at night to deliver just enough. No, he knows for the city. I hope you hear can turn my voice to sorrow, and that it's motivation to make the best of tomorrow. Hey, this place is cruel, nowhere could be much colder. We don't change, this world will soon be over. We're just enough, we're just enough for the city. The revolution will not be televised. Nah, all right. You will not be able to sit at home, brothers. You will not be able to rate, review, and subscribe. Because the revolution will not be televised. Nah, all right? You will not be able to lose yourself on opioids, nor scroll through Instagram as the Amazon burns. Because the revolution will not be televised. The revolution ain't gonna star Scarlett Johansson and Timothy Chalamet, all right? It ain't gonna star Kim Kardashian or Kylie Jenner neither, all right? Okay, you ain't gonna see no pictures of no pigs, and I said pigs, shooting down brothers on YouTube, nah. Because we all gonna be in the streets, that's right, looking for a brighter day. Because the revolution will not be televised, nah. The revolution will not be sponsored content. The revolution won't run on Dunkin'. The revolution will not make you 5 pounds thinner, because the revolution will not be televised. I said the revolution will not be televised. Will not be televised. It won't be televised. Do you hear me? Not be televised. Do you hear me? Not be televised. You won't be able to subscribe, my brothers and sisters, because the revolution is gonna be live. Right now, 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 right now. Oh, we gotta get it. We gotta get together. We gotta get it, yo. We gotta get it together. Right now, 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 right now. This next song is for every artist in this room and the ones who couldn't make it. Dying by inches every night, what a glamorous life. Brought on by winches to your sight, what a glamorous life. Ordinary people never get the flowers, and ordinary people never get the joys. Ordinary people couldn't cough for hours, maintaining their poise. Sandwiches only but you eat what you want when you want. Sometimes it's lonely, but you eat many handsome glance. Ordinary people need it. Tired of cases, and ordinary people don't go different places, which ordinary people can't do. Being human all day, I'm away to play, and I'm realer than they. What if my brooch is only glass and my costumes unravel? What if my coach is second class? I at least get to travel. And sometimes eating soup, he'll come traveling to me. Sometime this summer, maybe June, I'm the new place to see. Ordinary people may think life is better with ordinary people near them when they choose. But ordinary people seldom get a letter in closing views. Gay and resilient, with applause, what a clever slide. Speeches are brilliant, if they're short, what a glorious slide. Ordinary people need it, need committees, and ordinary people don't get keys to cities. No, ordinary people merely see their families all year, which is lovely, I hear, but it does interfere with the glamorous eye. Prince is guarded by dragons, snorting and grumbling and rumbling in wagons. I'm in my kingdom, wearing disguises, living a life that is full of surprises. And sometime this summer, I'll come galloping over the green. Sometime this summer, to my rescue, my lover, my king. Ordinary people thrive on being private, and ordinary people somehow can survive it. But ordinary people don't know that they're just standing still with their candles to fill, while they're missing the thrill of the glamorous life.
What? What? Isn't that what music is supposed to do? Stir up emotions and feelings and thoughts. We are so privileged, really, to have with us today Blaine Krauss, ladies and gentlemen. Please welcome Blaine. There you are, Blaine.
I'm here.
Oh, I feel that hug.
I also hear the clapping. I feel like if we were in a studio, I would have my Ellen moment. We'd go up the stairs, down the stairs.
Yes, we tried to play you in with a little music.
I love it.
We had a little technical difficulty, but here we are, and I am so happy to be able to engage in this conversation with you. It's so exciting to have you. We already have questions coming in, but I do want to start just for a moment Can you just tell me about the two wonderful gentlemen who you performed that first piece with? I was there that night.
Yeah.
And, the entire night was electrifying, but I felt badly that I didn't get an opportunity to meet those two wonderful gentlemen who performed with you. Could you just tell us a little bit about them?
Yeah, so those are two of some of my closest friends. Anthony Murphy, he was on the left side of your screen. He's one of my childhood best friends. We lived together. He starred as the genie on the national tour of Aladdin. He was unreal. And then to my right was one of my dear friends and classmates. We went to CCM together, Noah J. Ricketts. He starred as Kristoff in Frozen. So yeah, I'm surrounded by beauty. So they joined me for that Justice Suite, which, who knew it would be so timely, and thank you for airing the full thing of it. We both knew that we wanted to start by honoring George Floyd and everything that's going on. So thank you, Susan.
Hey, listen, we're in this together, as they say, and that's never been more relevant in so many contexts. So thank you for being here and for sharing your thoughts and feelings with us. Okay, we're going to get right away because I promised Delvis has a question for you, Blaine. When performing on Broadway, how do you keep each performance fresh and engaged?
I think for me personally, it's gonna be two things. Honestly, I feel like every show that I've gotten thus far, I still had a challenge to meet in the show for myself. Part of me was always like, how did I get this? How am I gonna meet this moment? Doing drag and Kinky Boots, I'd never done that. Lion King, just all of it. Hamilton, I never thought I'd be in Hamilton. So part of it is me just being on top of myself and being like, don't slip, stay on top of your performance because you're not quite that comfortable. And then the other thing is like the energy from the audience is a real thing. I know it sounds cliche if you've never really been on stage, but that energy that we swap is very real. So we feed off of it, and it's important that I give you equal amount of energy. There's no fourth wall. It's not a movie. We know we're existing. So if we do that pattern healthfully together, you as the audience welcoming us the story, us welcoming you to listen to it, it's kind of easy to tap into.
I understand. I understand that. I hope everybody else does. There's this sort of, I agree with you, this exchange of energy, and that takes over. And then again, as you say, you want to be on top of your game. You know, I'll never forget many years ago when Sandy Duncan was doing Peter Pan on Broadway, and you just talk about that connection with the audience and wanting to give 110%. And she gets to that point where she sings I'm Flying, the I'm Flying song. Everybody knows that song, I'm flying, flying. And in that moment, she's supposed to be lifted and start flying across the stage. And she stands there and she goes, I'm flying, look at me. And nothing. And and I see her kind of do this with her hands, and take me there, and no, it's great, and nothing happens. And I've never seen this because this just doesn't happen in Broadway shows very often. But she stopped everything. She looked down and she stopped the orchestra. She stopped everything, and she said, you guys paid, and I think at the time it may have been like $35 or $40. And she said, you paid $40 to see me fly, and I'm going to fly. And she said, would you please lower the curtains for a moment? I mean, my heart was pounding.
Wow.
The curtains came down, and it was only about 3 minutes. And I thought to myself, how is she going to make us believe that she's Peter Pan again, But no, then the curtains came up about 4 minutes later. They must have fixed something. And she starts singing. The orchestra starts, I'm Flying, and off she goes. And, we were instantly back there with her again. But it's that commitment. It's that commitment that you make. And so you know.
I know what you're saying. Yeah, we know what the game is. We know the rules of the game. If we give all 100, you give 100, it'll work out. So that's beautiful of her.
I agree. Now, what is the first Broadway show you ever saw?
The first Broadway show, I didn't see a Broadway show until, what was my first trip? Was it In the Heights? It might have been In the Heights with my best friend Murphy. I've seen some tours, so my mind is like muddled, and like I'd done some things overseas. So I saw a West End show before I saw a Broadway show, but I think my first Broadway show was In the Heights. And that, I mean, being a singer first, as someone who started singing before acting came into the picture, that music, going into the orchestra and seeing two percussion, full like percussion, it was the most beautiful, that was life-changing, life-affirming. Yeah, In the Heights. Wow, that seems like it's not that long ago, but that's kind of long ago.
It seems like it, but I saw that show a number of times. I mean, it was everything to me. Music, in fact, I can't understand why that hasn't come back yet, because it's hotter than hot.
I hope it does. I love a Lin-Manuel conglomerate. Take it over, Monopoly, baby. Give us all the shows, 7 houses. Yeah, I hope so. I mean, the movie, we'll be waiting. Yeah.
No, absolutely. Now, you mentioned something about being a singer first, Blaine.
Yeah.
And you most definitely are. But let me say, when I saw you, now I can't even remember now. Maybe you could help me. It could have been when you, as Lola in Kinky Boots, and we're going to talk about that for a minute. Or it could have been in the Cher show, but no, I think it was Lola.
Oh, I'm sure.
I remember coming to you. Yes, folks, Blaine played Lola in Kinky Boots. Now, understand, he was, of course, Billy Porter originated the role. Wayne Brady played it. Blaine Krauss played that role. I saw all of them play that role. And, in spite that I might get into some serious trouble here, Blaine killed it. And I remember after the show, coming over to say hello to you, and I was sobbing.
Oh my gosh.
And I was sobbing not only because, because of everything that show represents, and because of how beautiful your voice was, but then I remember thinking to myself, oh my God, how he dances. and so I was going to ask you that question, and you already answered it. Are you a singer who dances? Are you a dancer? Are you an actor who sings or dances? Or where does that fall for you?
I know. So I think, too, this is a good time to ask that kind of question. I say I'm a singer first because music was the first thing, it just was the first. I was singing early. I was talking early. I was communicating early. My mom thought I was going to be a preacher, which is hilarious. And yeah, full. And, but now that, I think and I'm glad you caught me on it. I think we have to stop with the barriers, because the more I grow and develop and expand and learn and grow as a person, I find myself being like, oh no, you are a storyteller too, and you do move. And now look, I ain't nobody's dancer. Like, I don't put me in the front and do a 7, 8, 4, 5, 2.
Yes.
Don't do that to me. Don't do that. That's not my ministry. There are other people who trained with the technique. But Kinky Boots was like a movement that was. Jerry Mitchell specifically said he wanted that movement to feel relatable to people, unlike typical Broadway shows that have a very higher vocabulary, which is necessary for certain other storytelling. So that felt in my wheelhouse. I just had never done the heel part of it. So that's something I bow down to you, and humbled. Well,
it was
It was a great show.
It was breathtaking.
Yeah, it was
In
fun.
fact, we have somebody with us. I'm going to pop up this comment. It'll probably chop off half my head, but we have somebody with me here. Hi, Blaine. Your show at 54 Below that night, so he was there as well, was one of the most electrifying I have ever seen. And luckily, I saw your Lola, which brought me to tears. It did me as well. When did you first realize you had a gift?
I've been analyzing this part of myself in therapy recently. My adults out there. I've always been a passionate individual, and like I've always had something to say. I always speak, and I will until I'm done. I am the product of a village. I'm the product of a lot of people who either met or who brought me to them, who coddled and shaped and showed me that I had gifts. So I think because there's part of me that reflects like, when did you decide this is what you want to do? Sometimes I'm like, I kind of feel like everyone was like, yeah, this is what you're supposed to be doing, which is a beautiful thing. Other people seeing something in you and just championing you. So when did I get serious about it? High school. That's when I was like, this is the medium in which I want to share myself to humanity and better humanity. So then I went to college and all that. But yeah. I'm also if you can't tell, and any friends who know me watching me, I'm into very meta woo-woo answers. You're always going to get... You're always gonna get
I don't think so. I think you're being very direct.
A bubble back.
No, I think you're being very, very direct.
Susan knows me.
So, I'm so happy about that. Okay, we're gonna, I got so off track because we had these questions. Talk about Hamilton for 1 minute. What were you hired to do there?
So I. After Share Show closed most recently, a position became available for me to join one of the tours, the Philip Company, as the standby for Hamilton, Aaron Burr, and King George.
Stop.
So stop. Full stop.
Because that's what I want to just talk about for a minute.
Okay.
So you didn't just... I think I'm hearing a little echo. Does anybody else hear that? Hopefully not. Okay. So you did not just have to learn one role.
Uh-huh.
You had to learn 3.
Yes.
Okay. That's insane. That's insane. Talk about that for a minute, because I have such anxiety thinking about that. I mean, as if it's not enough to learn one role in its entirety.
I know.
And the staging and how does one do that?
Like I said earlier, I was like, sometimes I'm like, what are you doing? How did you get here? What are you doing? Well, first off, my Broadway debut was Natasha Pierre and the Great Comet of 1812. And I was a swing in that company. So that meant I wasn't an on-stage company member doing the show every night. I was off stage and had learned 22 tracks, 22 different parts of that show. 10 men, 10 women in the ensemble, and then my 2 principals. So I'm geared up technically, to figure out how to study, how to, make things work so I can do the show. But then the other part of it is like, it's really fun. I mean, it's especially in something like Hamilton, getting to be able to play the 2 main characters in which a lot of the action revolves around, and like, getting to know one brain, and it's really cool. And for me, being me, I love it. I love it. So it's and in Hamilton, when you do one, the other ones get a little easier.
So did you, I mean, I guess you sort of establish a method for, committing all of that to memory. And I guess you have to break it down sort of in pieces. Today I'm learning Hamilton. Tomorrow I'm learning,
Right.
But how insane to have to jump in and out of those heads. I mean,
it's good, but the show is so structured. I mean, so if if you do your thing, everyone else, you line up perfectly. It's the way it's the way it's blocked, the way the storytelling is. It helps you. It really does guide you if you trust it. But I ain't gonna lie, it's a lot of work. I ain't gonna lie.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
I ain't gonna lie.
I can only imagine. I mean, remember, and this is for our audience that may or may not understand this. You're not only learning words and songs and so forth, but you're learning movements.
Mm-hmm.
You're learning where to walk. So Hamilton may have to walk to the right, but Burr may have to walk to the left.
Oh, and that always happens.
Right. And
I said each other's lines.
Oh, yes.
Singing Hamilton, sang his part. They do so many duet. I mean, it's the ultimate test.
Woo! But how exciting. I mean, so exciting. Hey, we have a picture of you, I believe.
Look at you. Look at you. You are on.
Hey, listen, we do our research. This is not, this is no joke. So there you are, that gorgeous picture of you. Did you enjoy playing that role? What was that role? Explain to us what that role was.
That's Great Comet. That's Natasha appeared in The Great Comet 1812, directed by Rachel Chafkin, who just won for Hadestown. She was the director of that. It starred Josh Groban and Danae Benton. And this character is the character of Anatole, played by Lucas Steele, Tony nominee. And it's probably one of my favorite characters. He is this dude. As an actor, I could do anything, and the audience in my palm. He's the bad boy. So this was so fun. And to do this opposite Josh Groban a lot was an honor.
That was a great, whoever.
That show's going to come back. I don't know when, but when it comes back, if you missed it, it was, I think just people, see it.
I'm sure you're not asking me if I missed it, because I don't miss anything that you do. I mean, that you're in something and I am there. So here's something. It's really a question for me. I'm curious. Do you prefer, Blaine, playing a character, or do you prefer playing yourself in a cabaret show? Oh, we've got another question coming up. They're coming in fast and furious.
I like them both. I'm discovering as I strengthen my personal voice, I'm discovering the venue of cabaret and orchestra world. And like I said, that was kind of me prior to the acting. But the core of it's storytelling. The core of it is sharing. Doesn't matter if there's a character or not. Communication, storytelling. So that question, the answer is I'm going to continue expanding into that world because it's bringing me a lot of joy.
I love that. But of course, when you do a performance where you're not playing a character, you really have to allow yourself to be vulnerable and to let people in and see you naked.
I got some help getting there. It's not easy. It's not. It's cathartic. It's something. Yeah.
Michelle wants to know. Hi, Michelle. What is your favorite role you've ever played?
I think right now it has to be Anatole. That's my favorite role I've played. I've never been more free off stage or on stage, except when I played Lola. That's an experience I'm trying to recreate in my personal life. I've never been more challenged and felt seen than being in the Hamilton company. So there's so much. There's blessings. So all about all the things I've gotten to do so far.
So wonderful. And I'm going to touch upon one thing, but we want to say a shout out to Rosemary. Thank you, Rosemary, for being here. We appreciate that you're grateful for what we're doing, and we're happy. We're trying very hard to keep music in everybody's lives during this time. So thank you very much. I'm sorry, I wanted to go back just for 1 second when you said that there's something. You see, there's so much to talk about.
I know. You're nailing it.
Crazy. So, is there someone in particular that you have in mind that you want to collaborate with?
Collaborate with?
I mean, I'm sure there's lots of people, but is there someone that stands out at this moment, or maybe not right this second?
There's a pop artist that stands out, and his name is Chance, and he's a rapper, and he's more than a rapper, and he has touched my soul and inspired me in ways the past couple of years that have influenced my artistic voice. On stage, I'm still looking for my Brian Stokes Mitchell collab. That is, I mean, I'm easily playing a nephew, a son, his biopic. He's one of my all-time favorites. So,
listen, we had him at the theater.
I know. I met him. He's the best. He
is the best. Brian Stokes Mitchell. If you're out there, if you're watching this, please come join us on one of these shows. I'd love to interview you. He is exceptional, and what a heart. And it's interesting. There are so many performers that I've met over the years, that I've worked with over the years. Some give 150%.
Yeah.
And that's extraordinary.
Yeah.
And it's amazing to watch, and it's amazing to, experience. He's one of those performers, and there are others. There are others, but he's one of those performers. Blaine, tell us about this.
Oh my gosh, what is going on? This is rich. This is rich. That might be illegal advertising, is what that might be. I think I was on tour, excuse me, and that is a Belgium waffle from Taste of Cincinnati, where I went to school, one of my favorite restaurants. And I think I just was being a fool talking about how I love those waffles, which I shouldn't be endorsing in costume, but first gig, we'll give it a pass.
Listen, give it a pass. I mean, to see you, but you know what? When I saw that picture, because of, I was doing a little snooping, and when I saw that picture with that beautiful headdress, I mean, when you put on, that was earlier on in your career, but when you put on that headdress, did you feel that majesty? Did you feel
it? That show, being in that show, is the essence. Everything on stage is what you experience off stage. The company, the ritual, the community, family aspect of it. So yeah, when you put on that, then that ain't no cheat. That ain't no cheat. That ain't no cheat. It looks light, and it is light, but you feel the corset. Yeah, that show comes with a sense of pride.
I could only pride.
Yeah.
Listen, again, for our audience members, props and costumes are so important when you're playing a role, because they really help you get into character. They help you experience what that character is feeling, whether you're walking with a cane or.
I'm old school too. I love a prop. I love a costume. Give me a wig.
Yes.
Give me a contact, some prosthetic. Like that's the kind of play I love. Like it put me all of it. It does. It's fun. It's so fun. I always joke around. I say, Meryl Streep me. Let's do it. Let's chameleon.
Well, oh my goodness. Thinking about the roles that I recently thought about, all the different roles that she played of a variety of ages even. Mm-hmm. And so just those props, from the sunglasses to a scarf around her head, all those things sort of get you in character. But to see you with that beautiful, majestic, headdress, it was just delicious. We've got Joseph here. Folks, I do want to remind you that this is a 10-minute Q&A, but I know that questions are coming, and we have so much to talk about. But if you do have a question, please type it in now so we can address it. Joseph wants to know, that's a great question, Joseph. What's your go-to audition song?
Change Is Gonna Come by Sam Cooke.
Fabulous. That was an easy one for you.
Easy. It's pretty much nowadays, if you get an appointment, they'll give you the music and you kind of start there. But if ever it's sing something of your own, always Change Is Gonna Come, always.
Lovely.
Yeah.
It's a great song. I've got one more for you. Don't kill me. What are you
No.
doing here?
This is so rich. So this is I have no photos where I look decent when I'm singing.
You
This
look gorgeous. What are you talking about?
Thank you. This is in Boston, outside of Boston, Massachusetts. One of my friends that I met on Lion King has a program out there called Break a Leg Theater Works. And this was me performing at one of their gala with the students. I'm probably singing Everything's Coming Up Roses.
Really?
Yeah.
By the way, did you notice that you were in our commercial at the beginning of the show?
Oh, I saw, yes.
Yes.
I don't think I can fit that blazer anymore. That's one of my favorite blazers. Quarantine.
That blue blazer.
Quarantine.
It's gorgeous. So, all right, I'm going to speed ask you a few quick questions.
Yeah.
As we begin to wrap up, folks, if you do have any more questions for Blaine, we're happy to ask them on your behalf. I could just talk to Blaine all day long. Blaine, did you say that you would sing something for us?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So here's the thing. I'm going to ask you just a few quickies, and then because that would be just the greatest joy to have you up close and personal and sing for us. So quickly, just a few fun questions. Do you always warm up before a show?
Yes.
I mean, I think
95% of the time I do.
Yeah.
There's a couple times where I can be better, but yes. It's important. I seriously, I mean that. I think that's actually something we've lost a little bit. Our warm-ups, right, Susan? You perform.
I mean, I remember from, grade school, and you don't see it as much anymore, but well, because I think they expect that everybody work on their own,
Yeah, and when it becomes a job, but
I want to know, how do you deal with performance anxiety?
How do I deal with performance anxiety? Always have had it. I do a little meditation, mantra, breathing situation. And then I really remind myself, this is something I learned from Scott Coulter, who learned from someone, that I'm here to share and not show. And that kind of takes off. We're sharing. There's nothing I don't have to show. I don't have to give any extra. I would like you to like me. It's okay if you don't, and then just kind of go out there and do my thing.
Well, I can speak to you for a year and a day, but at a risk of taking up all of your time, would you please, before we say our goodbyes and before we wrap things up, would you please, up there, that was great. I think we got a little bit more of that feedback again.
Oh, let me turn you. It's when I turn you, and then when I sing, because I have this speaker, you'll mute yourself,
Okay, will do. So I will be back in just a moment, but first let's listen to Blaine sing.
Okay, and let Blaine pull up iTunes.
Take your time. Take your time.
Okay, here we go. So this is Easy Being Green. I closed my solo show with this. It's one of my favorite songs. I think it's the perfect message for right now. I want to dedicate it to a castmate of mine that passed away recently in The Lion King, Michael Ashley, who was the epitome of being a singular sensation, being unique, loving the totality of who he was. It's not that easy being green. having to spend each day the color of the leaves, when I think it could be nicer being red or yellow or gold or something much more shiny like that. It's not that easy being green. It seems you blend in with so many other ordinary things, and people tend to pass you over because you're not standing out like shiny sparkles in the water or diamonds in the sky. Green is the color of spring, and green can be cool and friendly like, and green can be big as an ocean, or important like a mountain, or tall like a tree. When green is all there is to be, it can make you wonder why. But why, wonder why, wonder why I'm green? And it'll do fine, because it's beautiful, and I think it's what I wanna be. You know that green is the color of spring. Man, green can be cool and friendly. And I know, green can be big as an ocean, or important like a mountain, or tall like a tree. Well, green is all there is to be. It can make you wonder why. But why, wonder why I'm green? And it'll do fine, because it's beautiful, and I know it's what I wanna be.
Thank you so much, Blaine Krauss. To my audience, stick around a moment. Just want to tell you about some exciting things coming up. Blaine, we love you. Thank you for sharing your gifts. And once again, thank you for keeping the music alive in our hearts. And one last question. How soon are you going to return to performing when they say it's okay for us to do it? How soon?
As soon as possible. I'm working on things. People are working on things. We're gonna make this happen.
Indeed. Thank you so much. We love you.
Thank you.
Until the next time, we'll see you again. Thank you, Blaine Krauss. And to my friends, next week we have an extraordinary performer, the music of James Taylor. Steve Leslie will sing the music of James Taylor. Do join us at 4 p.m. And also, I just wanted to let you know that registration is now open for our virtual summer workshops. You've been watching QPAC Live, and now we introduce to you QPAC Alive. Evolve with us. These are our virtual summer workshops. They are fabulous, interactive, and we hope that you will take the ride with us. Registration is open. You can find that information on our website, www.visitqpac.org. We hope you all have a wonderful week. Thank you to our sponsors who are always there to lend a hand. Again, ladies and gentlemen, have a wonderful week, and we'll see you next Friday. Thanks so much. Bye-bye now.